Yes guys, as promised, I've got the Nike Air Max DN in the black smoke grey colourway. There seems to be a lot of mixed opinions on this pair, so I'm going to give you my opinion. We're going to get straight into this one and check them out. So before we start this one, there's two things I'm going to cover. The clips you've just seen, I've had to film on my lunch break. The midweek reviews, I work full time Monday to Friday, so it is very difficult to film because it is usually dark about 5 o'clock. So I film on my lunch break. I've only got a 30-minute window, so it is a little bit rushed, but hopefully it still gives you an idea of what they look like on foot. And then the second thing, in this video, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, the good and the bad. So if you really like this pair, that's absolutely fine. I'm only giving you my opinion. It's definitely not factual. It is just my opinion at the end of the day, but we're going to get straight into sizing. So starting off with sizing then, guys. I've worn these for about an hour whilst filming this video, and I have to say it's a little bit snug around the toe area. I wish I went a half size up. I hadn't watched any videos on these previously because I wanted to just give you my honest opinion on this pair. So for sizing, as it is a new silhouette, I definitely recommend, like I always say in my videos, you're probably getting a bit bored of it now, but head to a shop first, then you can try on a few pairs, and then you know you always get the right size for you. I'd hate for you to be disappointed in something that I've said in one of my videos, and that really is the best way to get your perfect size. But just finishing up from that, the sizing for the width is actually really nice. I've got wide feet, and it is really, really nice as far as the width. It's just the length. I just wish there was a little bit more room there, but as I said, that is just my preference. And then moving on to comfort, you've got this sort of mesh sock lining, which actually is really, really comfortable, really breathable as well. It's a really nice material, really, really light on the feet. However, the ankle support just below the padding is just really rock solid. I'm not too sure what's going on there. It might be a pair that I need to wear in first. As I said, I've only worn these for an hour, so it's difficult to give you my honest opinion. It's comfortable in some areas, but in other areas it's lacking. So now let's talk pricing and release dates. The release date on these, the 26th of March for £155 in the UK. I've noticed on all websites, all sizes are still available. Nike are really, really pushing this pair, but it doesn't seem to be too popular. You can still pick this one up fairly easily. I just think for the materials that you're getting and the silhouette itself isn't really worth £155 in my opinion. I think if they released it at maybe £120, £125, it would be a little bit more popular. But the fact that this pair's still sitting and there isn't too much hype on this one usually means maybe in about a couple of months' time this pair should be in the sales. So if the price is reduced, I'd definitely recommend picking this one up if it is sort of about £110, £120. But for me, £155 is a little bit steep. I know a lot of you got in the comments and interacted in my previous video about the TNs. I really do appreciate that. It really does help the videos out a lot. I want to hear your opinions on the DNs as well. I know a lot of you aren't a fan of these, but maybe some of you are. I've had mixed opinions on the Instagram as well, but let me know in the comments, what's your thoughts on the DNs? So where I say about the price point and the materials used, you just expect to get a little bit more. I've only worn these for about an hour whilst I've been filming those videos, just on my lunch break, and there's only about sort of 10 clips together, and you can see these have already creased, they've already got a mark on them. I do know shoes are going to crease over time, but for an hour out the box, this is really, really noticeable. And now it's got to the point in the video where we do an unboxing, we do a review, we get some close-ups of the shoe, and we cover all areas. Let's get straight into it. So starting off with the box, we've got the standard red Nike box with the white Nike writing and the white Nike swoosh. It's a shame we don't really see any changes in the boxes. Same as the drifts, we just got a standard box. I just like to cover it though because it is all part of the review. You also get this little tag from Nike which shows the shoes made from minimum 20% recycled materials, which is a nice touch from Nike. A little bit of sustainability there. And then moving on to the outer sole. I apologize if they're a little bit dirty. quickly. I jumped in a few puddles, as you can tell from the video, so I tried my best to clean these. But yeah, we've got the rough textured Nike logo in the middle, which is really, really nice on this one. You've got the red, which separates each individual air unit. I'm a massive fan of this outer sole, really, really nice. And it also has that white speckled effect. Really do like this outer sole. And then moving on to that chunky, unique midsole, catching your attention straight away, you've got these massive sphere air units. This is the new dynamic air cushioning, which I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of, but I know some people really like these. For me, it's just a little bit too much on the shoe. You do also get the DN logo on one of those air units. Here's a small close-up of those air units, just so you can hopefully see that DN logo. The lights are just behind the camera, so I'm sorry if it is reflecting a little bit, but hopefully that gives you an idea of the size of those air units. So despite not being a fan of these air units, I have to say the midsole itself is actually really, really chunky, really thick material. If you're going to be wearing these ones in the winter, absolutely perfect. This is really going to last a long time, this midsole. And then moving on to the front of the shoe, same as you'd find on the TN, you've got this glossy black mudguard. You've also got the separation there from the outer sole and the midsole, that tiny little Nike logo. So as we move on from the midsole, working our way up the shoe, we've then got this sort of plastic paneling. Underneath that paneling though, it's sort of like carbon fiber effect. There's some sort of like mesh underneath it. You've also got another Nike logo, really, really stealthy, triple black colorway. And here's a close-up of that plastic paneling. As you can see, that sort of mesh carbon fiber texture underneath adds a little bit of extra character to the shoe, especially as this one's sort of a triple black colorway. Looks really, really clean. Here's a close-up of that plastic paneling. As you can see, that texture underneath, really, really nice. It adds a bit of character, especially as it's an all black colorway. And above that plastic, you've got this matte casing, and then you've also got these dark gray fused overlays, which work their way all the way up to the back of the shoe. Here's a close-up of those overlays. As you can see, it's kind of got like a glitter effect to it. It looks kind of alright. The back of the shoe looks really clean. You've got more of that plastic see-through casing, also showing that sort of carbon fiber effect. You've also got the DN logo. And I also like the fact that outer sole sort of comes up from the shoe. Does actually look really, really nice on this one. Here's a close-up of that DN logo. Just going to do a sort of slow-mo of that heel as well, just so you can see sort of how much that black casing comes out. Now I move on to the parts of the shoe that sort of let it down just a little bit. So the eyelets itself is definitely something I need to mention. So the eyelets is actually sort of based on two bits of material. So not only do you have to thread it through this bit, you also need to find then the bit on the inner of the shoe. I'll show you the material just so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. Hopefully this angle shows it a little bit better. So not only do you have to thread it through that canvas material, you also then need to then find the sort of mesh material as well and then thread the laces through. So I'm constantly doing it at an angle, and sometimes the laces obviously comes through the paneling entirely and goes down the shoe. Really, really bit of a nightmare there. So it's definitely something I need to point out. And here's a close-up of the eyelet already. As I've mentioned, I only got these today, so I've worn these for an hour, and just look at the state of the eyelet, just me trying to thread the laces through. I've only sort of threaded them through maybe 3 or 4 times. So this is a much better angle. As you can see there, you've got the mesh material, and then you've also got the inside of the shoe, which is like a canvas. Not only do you have to thread it through that canvas, you also then need to find this mesh material as well and thread the laces through there. Just a bit of a nightmare. If you change your laces up, maybe you take your laces out and do a lace swap every now and then, it's going to get really, really annoying. And I know a lot of you that's not really going to matter, because obviously some of you will just keep the same laces in, but I know a lot of you do like to switch your laces up, maybe put a red pair in this pair, maybe just switch it up every now and then, change your lace style, things like that. Over time, that's going to get really, really annoying. And then moving on to the tongue and the tongue tabs. At the top of the tongue, you've got the DN logo in a sort of grey colour. Really, really nice. I have to say the tongue as well, really, really padded, really, really comfortable. I'm a massive fan of this tongue. Here's a close-up of that tongue for you guys. As mentioned, really, really padded, really, really comfortable, breathable mesh tongue, really, really nice. And then moving on to the base. The base of the shoe in this breathable mesh material. It is a really, really thin material though. I do have to point that out. I mean, just look at this sort of toe test. Look, pressing that down really lightly. The whole shoe creases there. I've only worn these for maybe 45 minutes on my lunch break, and I mean, they're already creased, and that's just sort of fresh out the box. Now, I do understand Nike has made that material as thin as possible, making it breathable, so obviously it's really, really comfortable, but it is something I've got to point out. It does also have these sort of dark smoke grey accents that go all the way up to the back of the shoe, which do actually look really, really clean. Same as that plastic casing, it just adds that little bit of extra character, especially as this is a triple black pair. So I've just switched the shoes. This is actually the left pair. As you can see, this pair is actually already creased as well. Now I know shoes do just crease over time. They're going to get creased and you should just wear your shoes. But look, after 45 minutes, it really shouldn't be looking like this. And if you're looking for a pair of shoes that you can wear Monday to Sunday, over time, that crease is eventually going to get a hole in. I did the same to my 270s in the gym. I wore those to the gym. After about 2 months, it started getting a hole where the crease was. It's just another thing I wanted to cover in the video, guys. If you're still debating whether you want to drop 155 pounds on these or not, this video covers absolutely everything. No filter, as I mentioned. So covering those grey accents, these are sort of like a rough material. You've also got another mini swoosh, really, really nice. I have to say as well, I do like this lacing system. I mean, the laces as well are really chunky, really nice laces. Unfortunately, no additional laces in the box, but I do think that pair just looks really, really nice with these. We've got the inner sole all in black, quite a thick inner sole. You've also got the DN logo stamped in the middle. And then moving on to the last part of the shoe that I'm not really the biggest fan of is the ankle padding. So you get about an inch of ankle padding here, just where the ball of your ankle should be. But below that inch of padding, I mean, it's just rock solid. I mean, there's no ankle support whatsoever. I'd imagine these are going to give you blisters really easily, but it might just be a shoe that you need to wear in. I mean, I was wearing these for 45 minutes and they were getting slightly uncomfortable. But like we always do, finish off with a last minute 360 of this shoe. But that is my honest opinion on these. I've given you the good and I've given you the bad. It is just my opinion at the end of the day. If you really like these, it's absolutely fine. I'm not saying it's a bad shoe. I'm just saying £155 is just a really steep price point for these. And that's pretty much all there is to cover this pair. I've given you my honest opinion. We've covered the good and we've covered the bad. Don't forget to get in the comments because it's really good to interact with you guys all over the world. I do really appreciate any support. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hopefully this video has helped you out. I definitely recommend picking this pair up if it's in the sale, but I think £155 for me is just a little bit steep. But I'll catch you in the next one. Until next time, cheers.